Hello, everybody. Come on in here. Hello, Virtuous Living. How is everyone today? Come on in here. You are watching Topics and Tea. I am Natanya, and you are watching Topics and Tea for Virtuous Living, where we take a topic of the week, we have our tea, and we discuss how we can be virtuous women in today's society in the 21st century, according to what God has given us in the Bible. Hello, Maiden Mother. Hello, Miss Octavia. Come on in here. Hello, 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 everybody. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm connected on my other end here. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're not going to be on here long because, hello, my Mama J. Hi, Mama J. We are not going to be on here long because I'm in the middle of something this evening and I've got to go. But we're going to get this topic and tea out, and we're going to talk about having the big head, okay? Having a big head. Come on in here. Okay, so looks like I'm connected on my other end. So you guys know how we start this, right? I have to show you my mug, and I have to show you what I'm drinking. Hello, Liz. Hello, Elizabeth. So today's tea is not in a mug because it's cold tea, okay? I just made this homemade tea. Actually, I made it a few hours ago and I just took it some out the freezer because I wanted it to be extra cold. So I'm one of those people, my tea either has to be extra hot, like when I order tea from Starbucks or something, it's extra hot and strong, or it has to be extra cold. There's no in between. I hate lukewarm tea. So it's got to be having a big head on my, yes, Mama J. So here's today's tea. As you can see, and if I can get, so you guys can, without spilling it on my laptop, it's in a glass because it's cold, and I just wanted to drink out of a glass because it's getting hot outside, and I'm just feeling summery, okay? I'm wearing like an apple perfume today. I'm just feeling summery. I was burning a jasmine and something candle earlier. My window was open. I'm just feeling summery. But anyway, this tea today I meant to bring you guys the package so you can see it because it was a gift from Mommy V. It is pineapple peach mango tea. Okay, now I added the pineapple. The tea bags that Mommy V gave me were peach mango, but I added the pineapple and then I used some pineapples. I used some peaches. I put some peaches in here, and I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. Come a little close, just a little closer. Okay, for the little secret, I put a teeny bit of ginger in there. Okay, a teeny bit of ginger and a little bit of baking soda. So if you use black tea, because I did put some black tea in there to just kind of amp it up a little bit. If you use black tea, one of the things they do in the South. Hello, Alicia, Pastor E, and hello, Lene. We're talking about the tea that I made today. If you put a little bit of baking soda in your tea, it kind of smooths it out a little bit. Just a little bit, not too much. I saw that online a while ago. I don't even know what article I read it in. And ever since I've started doing that, my tea is it just takes it up a notch. It just makes it really smooth. Just that little hint of baking soda. And then I put a little bit of ginger. And while it was cooling down, okay, here's another secret. Come closer, because only people on Topics and Tea can hear this part. I took some frozen apples that I had froze from a fruit tray earlier this week. I took a few frozen apples and I put them in the tea while it was cooling down. So the apples were melting. They was melting the tea and making it a little bit colder. And I was getting just that little hint of apples. And so I mixed the two apples. I think I have red and green. So I was given that balance of that sweet and sour. So you guys, I just love y'all coming in today. Hello, my Aaliyah. Hello. And Aaliyah, I actually was just talking about you to someone today because I asked them if they liked tea. And it was somebody from church. And when they said yes, I said, you probably won't like it because it's sweet. And I said, you're like Aaliyah. So anyway, here you go. This is the tea we're drinking today. Hello, Miss Stephanie. Come on in, ladies. I'm happy to see all of you. Come on in. All right, so let's get to our benefits and then we're going to get to this word because we're not going to be long, okay? So mango. So this is pineapple peach mango, okay? Mango is an antioxidant that is good for the stress in the body, okay? Its primary benefit is vitamin C. It is a decent source of vitamin A, and it's high in fiber, and it's great for colon cancer prevention and heart disease and weight control. So I like this. So that's a mango. And remember, I put a little bit of ginger in there. So it says ginger increases serotonin and dopamine levels. I've got some pineapple in there. And pineapple is good. You guys know pineapple is my favorite fruit, so you guys probably hear this benefit often. Pineapple is good for digestion, rich source of fiber, is healthy, helps you promote healing after an injury, helps relieve the symptoms of arthritis, great for your immunity, and great for your cardiovascular system. Peaches, that's another thing that's in there, is good for heart health. It's good for the digestion, decreases inflammation, helps your immune system, and makes you have pretty and healthy eyes. I didn't know that. Are my eyes pretty today? Okay. So it helps you have pretty eyes and smoother skin. Okay, so we need to put a little, I need to add some more peaches in my teas. I don't think I bring you guys peach tea often, so that's nice. Because I like peach, but I like peach to be mixed with something. I don't like when things are straight peach. But yes, that's interesting. Okay, let's get into it. She has a big head. The big head, okay? Hey, big-headed ladies, okay? This expression, we all know when someone says that you have a big head, usually is an insult, okay? Usually it means that, Mama J says just peachy. Usually it means that, you are arrogant, you're conceited, you're rude, can't nobody tell you anything. No, you do not have a big head, Aaliyah. Can't nobody tell you anything. You always have an attitude. Like it doesn't have any positive characteristics to it. But God gave me something completely different. And I think it all surrounds, just like when somebody has such a big head, nothing can get to them because their mind is just so full. Don't be taking all the peaches, use it for the peach cobbler. I got you, Liz. Liz is one of those people, if I make her peach cobbler, it has to be more peaches than cobbler, okay? Her and Jessie love peaches. So just like when people have a big head, nothing can get past their ego. In the same way, these adjectives that we're going to study today for our acronym for big head, we have to be so full of these things that the opposites of these adjectives and two verbs, the opposites of them won't even get in our head because we're so focused and we're so hello Rainier. Oh, is that my favorite bass player? Hello Rainier. Thank you for joining Topics and Tea. So true story, you guys. Rainier, what month is this, guys? April. We're in the middle of April. I brought Rainier a Christmas present. It is still, did Mama J know the topic? Not yet. I don't think so, Miss Octavia. Rainier's Christmas present is in my office right now. I've had that for 4 months. I look at it every single day and tell myself I'm going to bring it to church so I can give it to him. He said, don't put me on the spot. Okay, I won't. But yes, so hello, Rainier. Thank you for watching Topics and Tea. We're talking about having a big head. Big is an acronym. So let's get into it, ladies. So B for big head. And let me say this. Miss Octavia, you guys know I talk to her every day. When I told Miss Octavia what the title was today, she said, big head, I hope it doesn't stand for bald-headed, ignorant, and goofy. I was like, bald-headed, ignorant, and goofy? I was like, no. So, ladies, please make sure that your big head does not have those adjectives in it. Bald head, big. She used big head in her comment earlier. Yes, she did, Miss Octavia, because it says that when you pull up the video, it tells you. So, let's get to it. The first one is bright. Bright. We have to have a bright mentality. Everything I say today, when I say head, I'm referring to a mentality. We have to have a bright mentality. This life in general, will give you rain and it will give you sunshine. We will have some great days, we'll have some bad days. But the way that we look at our day, our perspective is everything. So with our mentality as virtuous women, we have to tell ourselves, come hell or high water, I'm going to give God praise. no matter what I'm in the middle of, I'm going to find a way to be grateful. I'm going to find a way to worship. I'm going to find a way to speak positive. I'm going to find a way to continue to speak life, even if I'm surrounded by death. We have to be bright women. We have to have a bright mentality. Don't let it rain in your mind. You know, one thing I think about is no matter how much is raining outside, it could be storming, thundering, all that outside, but there's always somewhere where you can find some type of shade or some type of shelter. There's always somewhere where you cannot get wet. There's always somewhere where it's not raining as much so you can protect yourself. And mentally, that's what we have to do. No matter what is going wrong in our life, we have to find somewhere or somehow to give ourselves some shelter and shade so that we are making sure that our minds are clean and free and bright. Everything revolves around our mentality. I forgot to give you guys a scripture today. I know sometimes we have a quote and sometimes we have a scripture, but a main scripture today is actually Romans 12:2. And the New Living Translation, which I don't read often because the translation is a little off to me. I'm a King James girl, but the New Living Translation, listen to this. It says, "Don't copy the behaviors and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." I love that part that says, transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. It is all up here. And don't allow naysayers to live rent free in your head. That is so true. And so that's part of it. Mama J is saying, don't let naysayers live rent free in our head. So that's true that we need to learn. If somebody is raining on our parade mentally, then we need to learn how to tell them to exit stage left. That is excellent, Mama J. I love that. I love that. So stay on guard. Make sure your mind is on guard. We're going to have 2 words for each letter today, okay? So we've got B for bright, and then our next B is going to be brave. We have to have a brave mentality, a brave mind, a brave spirit. And what I mean by that is there's so many of us, me included. I raise my hand. You guys know Topics of Tea is about me, you know, as God is dealing with my life. I'm very brave in a lot of things. Like, I'm not afraid of people or anything, but I can talk myself out of certain things because of some premeditated or some self-sabotage or fear. We have to learn how to push through that. If we can't believe in ourselves, if we can't make our brain think we can do something, you'll be surprised on how it actually doesn't happen, all because you didn't think it. You know, there is a scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you're thinking you're defeated, then you're defeated. If you're thinking that you're never going to make it, then you'll never make it. And the things that we think eventually start coming out of our mouth. And then the Bible also tells us that our words have power. The power of death and life is in our tongue. So if stuff in here, in our heart, in our mind, is death, what do you think we're speaking? And now we're all upset. Yes, Mama J, and yes, Miss Octavia. And now we're all upset when things aren't going right. And God is like, I didn't do this. You spoke it on yourself. You thought it on yourself. I don't know the name of the book, but I remember having a conversation with my cousin. And he either read this book or he heard about it. But it was a book where there was this Christian author who I believe either was somehow in the medical field or had some medical knowledge, I'm not sure. But she actually broke down about how, even though our Bible says that, you know, as a man thinketh, so is he, she broke down how that actually happens in science. Like, there's studies that show that people can think themselves sick. People can think themselves ill, like terminally ill. People can think, I would go so far to even say people can think themselves kind of dead. Have you ever seen somebody who's just always has a negative spirit? They're always upset. They're always negative Nancy. They have no life to them. Their eyes start to be red and demonic, or like their whole demeanor change. I believe those people die early. Like, I don't really have no scripture to back that up, but I personally believe those people would die early. So I would even go so far to say that you can take yourself out of here by the way that you think and you live. So we have to learn how to be brave. Listen to this definition of bravery. When I looked it up, I was like, wow, this speaks faith. The definition of bravery is actually to face and to endure danger or pain, showing courage. Ready to face and endure danger or pain and showing courage. When I thought about that, I was like, the mind is not to be your ruler. Think about what you are thinking about. My contacts are not helping me read today. Yes, Mama J, absolutely. When I read that definition, I was like, ready to face and endure danger or pain. That was the definition of bravery. What is faith? And what does God call us to do with faith? God is telling us that He wants us to be ready to trust Him no matter what it looks like. Ready to trust Him even though this in the natural looks like I'm going to fail, but I'm trusting your word that I'm going to make it because you tell me in your word that I should have the faith. You tell me in your word that you're going to bring me through. You tell me in your word that I'm already victorious. Like that, being ready to face that danger, that pain, that embarrassment, that rejection, like put whatever you're dealing with in there, that takes bravery. Like faith is all about bravery and trust, trusting God that He is going to back up His word. We have to remember, if you say you believe in God, you say He is who He says He is in the Bible, we have to believe it up here and live it out. The Bible is living, it's breathing. Our God is living and breathing. It still works. We just have to apply it. Mama J says, faith, forsaking all, I trust them. That is good, Mama J. I love it. Faith, she said, the acronym is forsaking all, I trust Him. I love that, Mama J. Yes, absolutely. I love that. So, bright and brave were our B's for your big head. Okay, is your head getting bigger? I hope it is. It should be. All right, let's go to the I. This is cold, okay? The I today is improved. Now, I put this one in past tense, right? We need to have an improved mindset, an improved mentality. Hello, Lady Arnice, the head of the Gatekeepers of United Faith. Hello. So improved. I put this in the past tense because I want us to think about where we were 3 years ago, where you were 5 years ago, where you were 10 years ago. You know, I often see myself, you know, Facebook, now this is a kind of a good thing and a kind of a bad thing. When Facebook reminds you of your memories, like I have read stuff sometimes and I'm just like, what the heck was I going through? Why did I write that? Why, or if it's pictures of people, why was I friends with them? Lord have mercy. Or if it's a selfie that I took and I remember exactly what I was going through that day or exactly where I was going through in my life, it makes me realize that I have really grown from the woman that I was 3 years ago. I've really grown from the woman that I was 5 years ago. So when I say an improved mindset is we have to make sure that we are not who we used to be. Because if we're not growing and you're staying in the same position, then what are you doing? Life is all about growth, and there's no way that we'll be able to experience everything. New and improved version, absolutely, Mama J. There's no way that we'll be able to learn every single thing on this earth, which is the great thing. It gives us even the more reason to know there's always something to learn. There's always something new to experience. There's always something in us that isn't quite right that needs to be tweaked and worked on. We'll never be perfect. I would encourage any woman, if you're brave enough to do it, going back to RB, go back and read your old diaries. Go back and just when you get a chance, just go back to your old profile pictures. They will remind you of what you were going through. I would even say go back to some old situations that you know for a fact you didn't handle well. You know, did you end up cussing somebody out? Did you end up fighting somebody? Did you end up slashing a relationship that could have been saved? What did you do to ruin a situation? And then ask yourself, not with the knowledge that you have now of maybe the person or the situation, but if you were in that exact moment with the same knowledge that you had back then, ask yourself, would I handle it the same? would I still have fought that man or woman? Would I still have acted out? Would I still have cussed them out? Will I still have, wrote all that bad stuff about them online? And if you say that you would have done the same thing knowing that back then you were wrong, then you really have a lot of heart surgery and spiritual surgery to undergo, because we should never be in the same position. We should always be improving and getting ourselves better. So improved is the first I, and honesty with self is essential. Absolutely, Mama J. Mama J is saying that we need to make sure that you don't lie to yourself. If you know you're not there, then what do you need to do to get there? If you know you are still would be wrong, then how can you make sure that when you do this exercise in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, that you're not in the same position that you are today? Absolutely, Mama J. Honesty with ourselves, and be brave enough to take the heat and to take the whooping. So improved was our first I, and our second I actually made improving. So improved past tense and improving present tense. And the reason I did improving is because our mentality, we have to make sure that we are maturing. It's great that we just realized, okay, I've matured in the past, but we should never get so comfortable we don't have a goal of where we should be. For me, and I'm not to call my pastor out, but I have a goal to have a spirit like my pastor. My pastor is apostolic, but he's extremely gentle, extremely understanding. Don't snap on nobody. I'm not a snapper. I don't really snap on people, but the level of love and forgiveness and encouragement that my pastor has is a goal of mine to reach. Okay. Now, I have been very afraid to pray that over myself, because when you pray for certain things, that means God puts you in certain positions where it's got to be used or tested. And I don't know if I'm going to pass some of them tests. Okay. So I just have a hope right now, and eventually God will answer that prayer request for me. Okay. So I have a goal of where I want to do, how I want to improve. Improving every day, press towards the mark. Press towards the mark. It is a race. Life is a race. Absolutely, Mama J. So improving, we're never done learning. We're always becoming. We're always becoming a better woman. We're always becoming more virtuous. We're always taking more opportunities for growth in this life. And I had a wake-up call today, actually. Today, I was speaking with a lady, and I was freaking out about something. I was just going in, and she stopped. And she told me that she had a doctorate. I can't remember if she said psychology or sociology or whatever, but this is what she told me, and I will never forget it. And I wrote it down while she was telling it to me. She said, I'm going to teach you the 3 laws of the mind. And I said, the 3 laws of the mind? She said, yes. She said, number 1, the first law of the mind. I'm going to write it down because I wrote down this notebook here. She said, the first law of the mind is that we cannot multitask. Your brain can only focus on one thing. Now, as soon as she said that, I was like, I'm like in my head, I'm like, no, we can multitask. I'm a woman. I have to multitask. That's the virtuous woman was a multitasker. Like, I kind of was shutting that part down in my brain, but hear her out for a second. She says, your brain can only focus on one thing, which is why number 2, the second law of the mind, according to her, she said that your mind can only focus on what you think. And I was like, my mind can only focus on what I think, which means if I'm thinking something, that's what I'm focused on. So if I don't want to be focused on something, I don't need to be thinking about it. I need to take it out of my brain. I need to rewire, what I'm spending my time on. But this is the third one that got me the most today with improving. She said the third law of the mind is that you cannot avoid a don't. I was very confused when she first said that. She said, you cannot avoid a don't. And I repeated it back to her, and she said, yes. And I said, okay. And she said, well, let me ask you this. You can tell a child, don't spill that milk, don't spill that milk, don't spill that milk. And I was like, okay. And she was like, and what does the child do? I said, probably spill the milk. And she said, exactly. You can't avoid the don't. So she said, don't tell yourself you can't don't do this, don't mess up, don't not make it, don't do this. She said, rewire the thinking and tell yourself, I can do this, I will do this is going to happen. She says, set it in the positive because your brain can't avoid the don'ts. And I've never heard anyone say this, and it was kind of sticking with me. I think I called Miss Octavia a few minutes after I had that conversation, and I just told her, I was like, wow, like it really gave me a whole different way to look at some things. But I put that in the I here in improving, because that's something that I'm now working on. I'm trying not to tell myself, don't do something, but putting it in the present and telling myself I will do whatever it is. Again, think about what you are thinking about. Yes, Mama J, think about what you are thinking about. Yes, absolutely. See how this is all connected? Growth is all connected. So we had B, which was bright and brave. We had our 2 eyes for our big head, which was an improved mentality, shouldn't be like you were 5 years ago, and an improving mentality. We should be able to do this exercise in a few years and see the growth that God has given us. And now G. At first I was going to make G godly mentality, but I thought that was kind of a given, because I'm like, this whole show is how we can be. You can't avoid the don't, right, Miss Octavia? I was saying, this whole show is how we should be godly women and virtuous women. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to make the G godly, but the G that I did make is, hello, Prophetess Tiffany. How are you? Are you in America? Or are you somewhere traveling? Because I know you you are on the move sometime. So we're talking about having a big head but positive qualities, Prophetess Tiffany. So G is actually going to stand today for gentle. Gentle. We have to have a gentle mentality. And I know that a lot of times we talk about having a gentle spirit, having a gentle heart, speaking to people more gently and all that kind of stuff. But when I said a gentle mentality, this culture, I can't even really blame the culture, but we are so hard on ourselves as women. When we don't make it and we fail at something, or even our children, when they fail at something and we had high hopes or something doesn't work out, we can easily get into that mode of, whoa, hi, Prophetess Loretta. You guys, Prophetess Loretta, you've never watched one of my lives before, and now I'm extra nervous, okay? You guys, Prophetess Loretta, it lives in the South, okay? That lady can cook, okay? She can look at food and it'd be good. I am so honored, and now I'm like nervous, okay? Hello, thank you for joining Topics and Tea. Hello, Miss Grant, how are you? Your baby is on my bed, asleep. So gentle. I was talking about how we have to have a gentle mindset. We have to learn how to give ourselves some grace. Give ourselves some grace. Give yourself a pat on the back every now and then for accomplishing something. Even if you didn't, and I'm not saying give yourself some grace to the point where now you're becoming lazy, or now you're not getting things accomplished because you're always like, giving yourself grace. But what I am saying is we self-sabotage some of our goals, or sabotage our own, our mentality, or other people, because we're just so hard on ourselves. Life, yes, is about growing. Life, yes, is about experiencing new things. Hello, Mama Amex. Man, my church is coming in today. Hello, United Faith. So we're talking about having a gentle spirit. You are your own worst critic. You are your own worst critic. And I want us to start examining how we talk about ourselves. How you talk about yourself when you make a mistake, how you talk about yourself when you mess up, how you talk about yourself when you almost made it, but you didn't do what you first envisioned you were going to do. We have to be more gentle with our mistakes. Don't keep making them, but don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Life is about growing. Okay, so G was gentle. And then the last part of G today for our big head, our big spiritual head, is we have to have a grateful mentality. This culture makes us compare our lives to other people's lives. You know, my house isn't this big. I don't drive this type of car. You know, she got a husband with 3 kids, and I don't even have a husband, but I got 1 kid, and I don't have, like, we're always comparing. And I think, you know, social media doesn't help. The culture we live in, where like the shows, even the reality shows, are, you know, about flashy things and all that. It sometimes it does get you like, why can't I have this? But we have to be, as a virtuous woman, we have to say, Lord, you've blessed me with a home. You've blessed me with a family. Even if you're a single woman, you still have yourself to take care of, or your family, or your church. There's always something to be grateful for. And there's always a way that I should say this, there's always a woman who wishes she had what you had. You may be driving a car that is 10 years old, but there's a woman catching the bus every day wishing she had a car at all. Okay, you may have a house that, you know, is got some drafty windows, even if that you really think you see it. Even the reality you think you see is not the true reality. Exactly, Mama J. You guys would be surprised how many people on social media are living a life that they're not, that's not even them. They're taking pictures with other people's cars, taking pictures in front of other people's houses, taking screenshot of other people's paychecks. It's, you know, a lot of it is a lie. So don't let that get you tripped up. Be grateful for what God has given you. Now, that does not mean, when you know that there's better for you, be in a mentality of, well, God, this is what you've given me, I'm never going to achieve anything else, and so you don't even put in the effort to do better. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, don't try to live your life from somebody else's window or somebody else's driveway. Be grateful for what God has given you, because in everything that he's given you, there's a purpose. And I think that we also sometimes, as a society, take God for granted. God don't have to give us nothing. Anything, excuse me, wrong grammar. God owes us nothing. Everything that we have is because of his grace and mercy. Therefore, everything that we have, we should be grateful to have. Okay, so let's go over our letters, and then we're going to have our tea. So for those of you who are just joining, because I see my numbers fluctuating, we are talking about having a big head, a big godly head, a big godly mentality. And the first B was to be bright. The second B was to be brave. Excuse me. The I's was to have an improved mentality. We shouldn't be how we were a few years ago. The second I was to be improving, because we should always be taking steps to grow in God. And the G's were gentle. We should have a gentle spirit. Be gentle on yourself. And then the last G was grateful. Okay, so let's have our tea. Our tea. And those of you who didn't see, I made some homemade pineapple peach mango tea. And it is good and sweet and refreshing. So our T for tea today is, having the big head is a positive quality, not negative, positive quality that represents having a bright, brave, improving, gentle, and grateful mentality, which are the characteristics we should have at all times. Okay. Our E for our equipment today is from Romans 12:2. And the New Living Translation is what I'm reading. And it says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Okay, that was the New Living Translation of Romans 12:2. And then, hello, Miss Sharam. Thank you for joining us today. And then letter A for our weekly assignment is to ask God to help us examine our mentality, so that we are honoring him first with our hearts, and then with our thoughts, then with our actions, and then as a result, he will reward us with those results. Okay, it's like a chain reaction. We want to ask God to help us in our heart, our thoughts, in our actions, and then he will reward us with the results when we have the right heart, actions, and mentality. Okay, so hello, big head. Good night, big-headed women. I love you all. You guys have a great rest of your evening. And next week, there's a special treat for your topics and tea, and I can't tell you yet, but there is a special treat for next week. And I will see the rest of you tomorrow for Pearls of Wisdom on a Wednesday for a Wonderful Woman, which is usually on TikTok. So I love you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. And you guys make sure your head stays big and strong. Okay? Bye-bye, ladies.